Hey everybody, how you doing? Another episode of Let There Be Talk today. Episode number 44. Hey everybody, how you doing? Another episode of Let There Be Talk today. Episode number 44. Can't even believe it, 44. Insane, man. I've had some really cool guests in the last couple months. Want to say thanks to all the guests that have been on. Last week, Linda Perry, how great was her? How great was she? She was amazing, man, right? Did you guys like that episode? Don't forget, if you want to donate to the podcast, money helps out. Helps us over here get the machine rolling. You can donate. Hit me at deandelray@yahoo.com. Right there. If not, no biggie. All good, man. I just keep steamrolling through and getting it going. Sorry, a little zombied right now. It's like 1:30 in the morning. Just got home from Bray Improv. What a great crowd that was tonight. Insane, man. Bray Improv. Thanks for having me tonight. Let's see. Quick thing. Episode's brought to you by Ironheart. Ironheart's some of my favorite clothes in the world. Check them out. ironheart.co.uk. Talk to Giles there, email him, look at his stuff. He's got amazing denim, shirts, jackets, all kinds of stuff. Authentic American rock and roll clothes, made in Japan, of course, where all the good quality's made. Ironheart, the works, motorcycle specialties, jeans and denim wear, original garments. Check them out. I love them. Ironheart. Get back into it right here. Before I get the guest going, I'm going to be at the West Side Comedy Club this Sunday, August 25th, doing Neil Brennan's show with Kevin Christie and the guys there. That's a great show. If you haven't been there in Santa Monica, come out. If you live around here, you have to do new material. Always come in with new material. It's really hard. It's fun. I dig it. Sometimes I eat it really bad, which is classic. Anyway, come check that out. That's this Sunday, August 25th. At 9 o'clock, Westside Comedy Club in Santa Monica. And a big show just came through, September 20th. I'm going to be at Largo. Me and Sammy Obeid. Sammy Obeid celebrating his 1,000th stand-up spot in a row, 1,000 days of comedy at Largo, September 20th in Los Angeles. Tickets are available right now. All right, let me tell you about the guest today. My guest today is a rock and roller. I've known this guy since I was 19, 20 years old. We met in San Francisco. He's originally from Chicago, plays guitar. He moved out from Chicago, didn't know anybody, joined a band that I feel is probably one of the finest rock bands to come out of the Bay Area in the 80s. Flame. Probably didn't hear about them. There's a lot of bands out there that people love and no one's heard about them. The old major label curse, whatever you want to call it. But these guys lived the dream, and I learned a lot from them. And I loved them, man. They were rock and roll, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They lived it, and I lived it with them, man. So tune in, check it out. Billy Harvey. Not only did he play guitar in Flame, but he kept going. He moved to Austin. He's going to tell you about that. Became a record producer. Did some Bob Schneider records. Plays guitar now in Katie Seagal's band. You know her from Sons of Anarchy, the wife. She sings. She's amazing. He plays lead guitar in the band. He also plays with Carole King's daughter. Carole King, of course, making one of the greatest records of all time, I think, Tapestry. You're probably laughing, but that's true. I do love that record. Sit back, check out the episode. I really like to thank all you guys for tuning in. So many new listeners. I love you guys. Keep the emails coming. Tell your friends. Subscribe on iTunes. Let there be talk. Oh, yeah, here we are, another episode of Let There Be Talk. Today's Thursday. I don't even know. August something. But I got a great guest today. Little Coke party action here with my man Billy Harvey.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. How long have I known you, Billy?
I think we've known each other since we were 19, maybe?
Fuck, I don't even know. Like, when did you move?
It was
to San Fran, Bay Area.
1986.
1986. You're from Chicago.
Yeah, I moved.
Right?
Yeah, I moved to the Bay Area from Chicago right out of high school. I think I was 17, and my mom gave me her Volkswagen Westfalia, and I drove out and to the Bay Area to make it. And
what'd you drive to the Bay Area for? Were you you later joined a band Flame, but were you coming out? I can't remember. Did you have the gig already?
No, I just wanted to come to California, like everyone's dream. You grow up in the Midwest and you come to California and you become whoever you want to be. And in a lot of cases that involves the porn business, but
yeah, right.
For me, I was headed to LA, I thought, but in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I was jamming with some dudes that you find in the classified ads. Those whole classified ads in the back of newspapers, like finding the musicians in those is just the funniest thing ever. Like
here they used to have that the recycler. I don't even think it's around anymore, but that's how you found band members.
Totally, yeah. The local rags or like the cork boards. You know.
Right, because the thing is, everybody moved, so you didn't really know anyone. The people you knew were in bands already, so you just look in and say, hey, lead singer wanted, and then you check them out, and you're like, whoa.
Have gear. That's what I love the most. They don't even care about if they're good or not. They'll say, I have a full stack and all these pedals and a station wagon.
Yeah.
Like, you're in. We need a station wagon.
Yeah, or how about the guys looking for a band? This is my favorite. Yeah. Lead guitar player wanted. Looks and pro equipment a must. Yeah. No druggies. Yeah. What? It's 80s, dude. No druggies.
I know.
That's hilarious, right?
If it was like, I can easily pound 18 beers and still play, you're in.
I think that no druggies really meant no heroin, because everything else, because that was like, oh man, it's going to be they might even go for it too if the guy was good enough.
Yeah.
But no drug. I mean, the guys were writing that ad on drugs.
Oh, I know. I love those. I used to read those just for amusement. So I met a guy who was from the Bay Area, and we started jamming around, and then we looked for a drummer, and we started, devising this scheme. I mean, we never would have done it, but we were like, what if we just get all these drummers to bring their gear over? We kill them and bury them in the backyard, and then we got all this great drum.
Yeah, you can just sell the drum gear.
Yeah, we never did it.
That sounds like an episode of Breaking Bad.
It does now. Yeah, it does. But anyway, he decided to move home, and since I was headed out, that changed my course. So I went to the Bay Area instead of LA.
But what made you go there? We're talking what year? 86?
Yeah.
So who's big in San Fran at that time? Le Mans, maybe? Roadrunner?
I didn't know anybody out there. What made me go there was just him saying, hey, you could stay at my house. You could stay at my parents' house.
Wow.
And that was weird.
You mean the guy wasn't going, but you could stay at his parents' house?
No, he was going as well, and we were both staying at his parents' house. And
where was that?
It was in Hayward, California.
Yeah, one of the worst spots in California.
I think we're probably the worst spot.
It's got to be the ugliest city going.
It's definitely probably. I've driven all over this whole country, and I can definitely say Hayward is the worst city in America.
It's got a shitty name too, right?
Hayward.
Hayward would be somewhere you'd land with some girls after a gig. They'd go, come back to our place, and you'd wake up hungover in the morning in Hayward and be like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah, we call that going to the resort.
Yeah.
What is it? So yeah, but thank God for Hayward, I guess. And then then Castro Valley, where I moved after a few months, and then ended up hooking up with this band Flame and meeting you, and
Yeah. Now, was Flame
course.
a band before you were in the band? I don't even remember. My memories are I got great memory and bad memory. They show up at different times.
Yeah. Flame was already a band, and they were looking. I was done with the Bay Area. I'm like, I'm going to LA. Maybe I'll go to GIT. I don't know, but I gotta leave. So I was in this bar, and this girl comes up and says, and she hands me a card, and she goes, "I know a band looking for a guitar player. You should call them." So I was like, I thought to myself, I'll call them just for experience auditioning, but I'm not taking the gig because I'm out of here.
You're practicing auditioning.
Yeah, and the singer, I talked to the singer Phil, and I think the first question he asked me was, "How long's your hair?"
Yeah, well, that was a must, right?
Yeah, and I go, "Long enough." Yeah. Where's your house?
No shit.
No shit. Long enough.
Yeah.
And then it was the full rock and roll movie thing where like we went to the storage, the storage unit place where they were renting a storage unit. They had all the gear set up in there, and they hadn't told the other guitar player yet. And I'm auditioning on his amp.
Oh,
like the full on,
the guy wasn't there. They were sneaking in an audition.
Yeah, and no big story to report. Just some awkwardness around that, but
right. So then you play, and they say you got it. Because I mean, like if people don't know, obviously. But you were an insane player. A lot of guys back in the 80s were just killer, right? I mean, everybody played great. Isn't that weird?
The weird thing is I always, you can be your worst critic, and I always thought I sucked and I wasn't living up. But we recently did this Flame reunion, and I listened to the old records, and I was like, holy shit, no wonder people thought I was good.
Yeah, I was just watching it, man, on YouTube, refiring up some dreams. I was watching a gig at the Stone, and I'm just going, man, this guy's just murdering, because I know the leads right now to this day. And I was watching Ball and Chain, and you were playing the lead, just exact, screaming.
Crazy, yeah.
So they must have been flipping out, like, wow, this guy's fucking great.
I don't know, because I was always kind of oblivious to any of that. But I think Phil told me once that I had the gig just with my long enough response.
Yeah, man.
But the minute I heard their songs, I mean, I was going, they're great. Like, there's no way in hell I'm going to L.A. Like,
right.
These guys are awesome.
What songs did they have at the time? Real Love?
It was Angel.
Yep.
And a whole bunch of other ones that were real. Phil was like a more rock and roll version of Prince when I got in the band, and
right. I mean, this guy.
And then it slowly
this
went.
Guy could sing, man.
Yeah. So it was really soulful. A lot of Motown influence with the rock, and Angel was a good one. Sexual Kind was close behind that.
So basically, the stuff that was on that first cassette with the silver cover had the kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you play on that, or
I did? Yeah.
Okay, so you join in, and pretty much you're in a gang, because that band, when I met them, was like a gang.
Yeah.
To me, they were. You guys were the band that I always wanted to be in. It was a band that lived in a house together.
Yeah.
They rehearsed together. They partied together. They fucked together.
Yeah.
And they had this tree fort called Nile Station in Fremont, which was a biker bar that turned into a full-blown rock club.
Yeah. Those were some good times. I mean, we went out. This was before, the cell phones and the computers and a lot of... I just remember we'd all be driving around, all of us jammed in, oftentimes the front seat of a truck, you know, a bench seat, and there's like 4 of us in there, and Phil's like, pull over, I gotta use a payphone, I'm like, how did we get a hold of anyone back then?
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like, the guy had to be by his phone. You know what I mean? Like, you just happened to catch me, I was by my phone, dog.
Yeah, it's like, hey, pull over, let me throw a fucking dart at a balloon.
Yeah, like, isn't that fucking weird?
It's so weird.
Especially if you're scoring drugs, right? You had to go to a payphone and hope that guy still was around.
Yeah. So, yeah, we used to go out as a gang, and we were just really hungry. The beautiful part of that time for me was just the idea. You're ignorant in a way as to what life is gonna fucking extract from you.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm
Your
just
dream
like,
is just the rock and roll
we
dream.
can do anything. We're gonna do whatever we want to do, and so it was just such a beautiful time of going out, every night and making flyers and promoting our shows and just hitting all the clubs. And I mean, we were working, but it was a party. You know? So it allowed us to build up a pretty decent following.
Now, in those early times when you first joined. Of course, they didn't have that band house and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you join, you're in the band, and were they, I don't really remember, but they weren't big yet, right? They were just kind of like whatever.
Yeah.
And then do they get big once you join in?
I like to think that was the deciding factor.
No, because all of a sudden, it seemed to me, over a period of about a year, the band was huge in the Bay Area.
I think, any good band is greater than the sum of the parts. And when you see it with, we're a local band, so whatever. I'm not making it out to be more than it was, but we had that chemistry that when, the 4 and sometimes 5 of us were together, that something else was vibrating, you know?
Yeah.
And you see it in bands, like the Stones and the Beatles. And again, I'm not comparing, but they have to kick a member out before they get really big.
Yeah.
Like, it's like once that chemistry locks in, it moves faster than the speed of light,
I was
speed
talking
of sound.
last week. You can't buy chemistry.
Yeah.
So guys kick dudes out, let's say Kiss, and then they go, we'll just hire these 2 guys and stuff. The chemistry is not there. You can't buy chemistry. If you could, Bon Jovi would just right now have 5 guys, and you wouldn't even know who they were.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's the magic of the 4 guys living in a house. They're starving. They're fighting for something to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And then you can tell these cool songs start to happen. Chicks start coming around.
Yeah.
Then dudes start coming around, and then it fucking hits.
Yeah. We did have a speaking of chicks and dudes, we did have a strategy / philosophy that you only, and we're not the only ones that have had this, but you only go for the women.
Yeah.
Because all the guys follow. So we only promoted to girls.
Right.
I remember we would even stand outside the high schools and pass out flyers. And
to high school girls?
Yeah, for all ages shows. Like, it's just like sooner or later, man, all the girls are going to be at our shows. And then the guys follow, and then it's a fun time. A room full of dudes is just not fun.
No. Yeah, unless it's a Metallica show and you're getting some angst out. But other than that, it's just kind of like,
it's got to be like, it's obviously like primordial, DNA. Like, if there's a room full of dudes, you look around and go, okay, civilization's over. If you have a bunch of girls, you're like, life will go on.
Yeah.
We're gonna evolve.
So that Nile Station, which was in Fremont, that's kind of like a lot of people don't know. I guess Charlie Chaplin went up there and tried to make his own kind of little mini Hollywood. Remember that? That was the myth of that town, Niles, Alvarado Niles or whatever, which is in Fremont, which was seemed to be to me. I look back at Nile Station and that time now as pretty much the DNA of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of, I molded in there, I think, which was weird. It became kind of, I fell in love with bikes, motorcycles. I remember Phil had a Harley. I was like, fuck, this guy's got a Harley. Like, to me, it was like the real deal. You guys lived in a band house. I was like, this is great. And then rock and roll. and and just lunacy.
Yeah.
And it was ground zero of like molded me in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to mold the fuck out of you. You're coming out from Chicago suburbs. You're just like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing plays like a movie in my mind. I wish I could have a more visceral recollection of it. It's kind of foggy. But
I think it's foggy because if you were really there, it was foggy.
Yeah,
it's like the thing they say about Woodstock. If you say you were there, you weren't there.
Right. Man, I don't know. Yeah, I remember. I feel like you and I were 19 or 20, sitting in some room in my house.
We did that rap.
We're working on this rap song all night, all drugged up.
Yeah, we were on some drugs. And what was it called? Oh, you found it like about 10 years ago. I remember.
I should look for it.
It was called something, but we were early rappers.
It was that funky, and I mean that in a bad way, like Blondie or even Grandmaster Flash, like
the horrible drum track.
The early days of rap when it's like it's just up and down. I went to and I was funky.
Yeah, right. What was it? It was like like something like booty slap or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, something bad,
But I was when a few years ago when I was moving out here again, and you were helping me look for a place, and remember I was just like, if somebody told me, like, life is definitely science fiction, because if somebody told me when we were sitting in that room doing lines of Crank and writing this rap song, and somebody whispered into my ear the scenario that I'm in today, I would have thought that they were totally crazy, because 25 years later or whatever it is, we're walking in Silver Lake and looking into furniture stores going, is that mid-century? I love that coffee table. Man, the upholstery on that settee is something else. Like, what the fuck?
Crazy, right?
I know, but
we're in their antique store 20 years later, man.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine, like, fucking 20 years ago, we go like, hey, we'll get up tomorrow and go look at antiques.
Yeah. Or like,
we were in the antique mecca, too, Nile Station.
No shit. Or let's just drive around and look at the architecture, like you love the Craftsman homes.
Yeah. Just insane, right?
So bizarre.
I remember that, though. We were in there like, let's do a rap song. Just the thing about Niles was it had great times. It had some really dark times.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. I don't know if you watch Breaking Bad. Do you watch it?
I do. It's over with now, right?
Well, no, there's 8 more. We're almost over. But as I watch Breaking Bad, I think it affects me way harder than maybe some people. And it's really dark to me because I've been in those like meth world, drug worlds.
Yeah.
And it's weird because you party and you're having the best time, but at the same time, it's pretty dark.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely.
I just remember that you, we would go on 3-4 day benders. And then I remember one day you were out.
I was out.
Boom.
Yeah.
You just went. And now what happened? You got in a car wreck, right? Going to get some booze?
Yeah.
It was almost Vince Neil action.
Yeah. It could have been really bad. And it was almost a head-on collision. And,
right.
And
you were
then
at the greenhouse.
fled the scene.
You fled the scene. Now wait a minute.
I fled the scene, but I got lost.
Oh.
And I had to turn around, so I drove back to the scene.
Oh man.
Got out of my car, and I was out of my car when the police came, and if they can't place you behind the wheel, they can't convict. So
is that right?
Yeah.
You mean the person didn't say that was the guy?
Nope.
Wow. Was the guy gone? Or?
I had a lawyer. I don't know if I should say that.
Well, yeah.
But, anyway,
we're talking like 15 years.
Yeah,
ago.
it was. It's one of those things where you look back on and go, "That was, thankfully no one got hurt. I was able to take care of the other people, and they were happy, and it
was a wake up call.
And it was a wake up call, and it it could have been worse. Could have been way fucking worse.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where you're like, wow, thank God I got in that head-on collision.
Yeah. Right. I remember. So after
we were going like we were going 20. So
Yeah.
Oh my God, it could have been worse.
Yeah, right.
Maybe 30. I mean, 30's enough, but whatever. It wasn't enough in this instance.
I mean, that was the thing about those times is that's just standard. Like a lot of people go like, oh, Vince Neil, he killed that guy. But that guy was just as high as him. When you're with your buddies and it's 6 a.m. and you've been up all night doing some fucking powder, you go right to get the booze.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, let's go get some booze and you need to carry on.
Yeah.
And so that's just standard in the 80s. It was like standard rock and roll.
Yep.
It's crazy. Now, after that, you find Jesus, right? That was pretty wild phase in your life.
Yeah, I'm a man of extremes.
Yeah, you are.
I am all in.
You are, man. Like,
holy shit.
Like, if you're partying, you're all in, and then if you're not, you're all in.
Yes.
So I remember you find...
Then somebody convinced me to go to this revival, and
who did that? Was it someone around the camp?
Yeah, it was kind of... And there was some big revival, and she goes, "Hey, let's go to a rock concert." And I'm like, "All right, whatever."
Yeah.
And I go there, and the guy, I remember the evangelist. His name is Mario Murillo, and he's like from the streets, and so I could understand what he was saying, and he got me. He's like, I'm talking to you, and of course I thought you meant me, and I'm like, oh, he's talking to me. I need help. So I went down there, and then I just like super zealot for about 6 years. Like read the Bible cover to cover, fasted, went on a couple missionary trips,
and you're still in Flame at the time, right?
I'm in Flame, and I think I think that ruined Flame. Honestly, it's just. That changes the whole dynamic of, I can hear Christian music on the radio, and when I hear it, I'm like, I don't like it. I mean, a lot of people like it, and good for them, but I don't like it, and so I influenced the band in a way that, I'm not saying anything about Christianity, but I don't think it was good for our recipe necessarily. Right. We were going I think we had run our course anyway,
right?
But that didn't, help it any. But again, it's like one of those things. It's like you add it it's another stepping stone in your life, and it's as important as anything else.
Yeah, it's just
even though like after 6 years of that, I was like, I feel like I'm trying to bend a spoon with my mind. It's not real enough. Let me see what else is out there.
And you cut it loose.
Cut it loose, and
I just remember you got to think about 80s rock, and it's full tilt, girls, drugs, and wild parties and everything. Yeah. And all of a sudden it comes up the wire, Jesus, Billy's on Jesus.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? And you get this big tattoo of Jesus on your back.
Right.
And you just like, all of a sudden you're like, I got to go home, guys. And we're like, wow. And I was like, and then it starts making you feel weird yourself,
Right.
Like, wow, man, I don't know, maybe I am the devil,
Yeah.
Or maybe that little pocket of Fremont was fucking hell,
Yeah.
But it's so crazy, man, to think about that,
Yeah.
Now, your band, like if you want to hear it, I found some videos on YouTube today. But you had a cassette out. Ooh, cassette! Yeah. You sold that on your own.
Yeah.
Then you make a record called Blaze on your own. Someone financed that, right?
Yeah, we did it. Somebody did finance it,
right.
And we made it ourselves.
Right, right. And then you finally get a record deal.
Yes.
On a label called Giant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who is Giant even around anymore? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
But were you guys the first signing?
We weren't. It might have been Color Me Bad.
Color Me Bad.
God.
Yeah. What I'm trying to figure out is that you guys had like everything. You could sell out the Stone 2 nights.
Yeah.
you had fucking crazy hit songs. I mean, at the time, you guys were very similar to Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
But you had better songs than Bon Jovi. This is before their big record came out. Let's say they had the She's a Little Runaway record.
Right.
They had one song. You guys had like 5.
Right.
You know, which is like a lot of fucking like hits as far as a label. Now, you showcased a lot. Tell people what that's like. You got A&R people, they fly out to see you. What, usually at Niles?
Yeah, I mean, we had A&R people flying out, but we also moved down to Venice for a while.
That's right. Now, I wanted to talk about that, but was that... Because my memory is foggy. I remember going to the house, which you guys lived right on the beach. I remember your equipment getting stolen in the car.
Yeah, on
right?
Westminster we lived on.
I remember you had a condom machine on the wall in there. Now, you lived in, what was that? Just a studio box or something?
It was a storefront. It's on Westminster and the boardwalk. It's right on the beach. And,
I seen it.
And when we moved there, we had crack addicts sleeping in our doorway, and we just covered the windows with black construction paper and rehearsed in the basement. I mean, this was before reality shows, but man, if there was a camera, it'd be a different day, you know. For
now,
us.
What made you guys pick that spot, Venice?
I have no clue. We had a manager. Well, I do have a clue. We had a manager who lived in Marina del Rey, and she probably said, "This is close. This is available.
Right.
Venice is awesome." I mean, back when we lived there, it was way more dangerous.
Oh, hell yeah!
Now it's
that was during
charming.
That was during the Colors, the movie Colors.
It was right during Colors.
You had the crack wars going on and shit.
Full on. We saw some things. I got pulled over. I was walking out one night and had the helicopter.
Yeah,
it stopped me with its spotlight, and then all the cops swoop in, and and it's so much like the movies because they're like guns drawn, like get down, hands in the air, like giving me all these directions, and it's just like I was just wearing shorts and a t-shirt, but I felt like I wanted to put my hand in my shorts and pull out a gun.
Yeah.
Like I'm like it's like a Tourette's thing. Like I know I don't have a wallet, but I'm going to pull it out like I'm drawing a gun.
Yeah. Because they're just get riddled with bullets.
Well, I didn't want that, but I couldn't help myself,
Yeah.
But fortunately, they mistook me for someone else. But man, it was every night out there was like the Wild West, and
now living in San Francisco, we're just like, whoa, those guys manned up. They moved, they moved to L.A. And I remember, let's go see them. We went down. I came down and visited you, and I just remember like it was crack zombies. Yeah. And there was it was gangster down there. And I was like, what are they doing here? Isn't it in Hollywood where you're supposed to live? You know what I mean?
Know.
That's all I kept thinking.
Yeah. That's weird. I mean, we should have lived in damn Hollywood, and we drove there every night.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, and at the time, you got the Cheap Trick bass player joins, right?
Yeah. We had Pete Comita playing bass, and so good. The showcases are weird. We did most of it. The reason your question reminded me of Venice is because we did most of our showcases on sound stages in LA.
Oh, like SIR?
SIR, yeah.
Right.
And it would be us and one dude sitting on a chair with his arms folded. And we'd be all dolled up. We had somebody making our clothes. We had a person teaching us dance steps.
Really?
Yes. Phil might have used one as a joke once, but I don't know. At the time, it's like you got to do everything. We had
now who was getting that manager?
Probably the manager, and it was probably a great idea for the time, but just looking back on it, it's funny,
Yeah. I mean, you're thinking you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, and I loved it. I mean, I was again like fully committed to whatever. Like, I want to wear the outfit. We were always into the clothes.
Oh, I love clothes. And
you can't find those rock and roll clothes. It's like, back then you had to buy women's clothes or something. They're not making colorful paisley jeans for dudes,
Yeah. Yeah, you had to get like stretch jeans.
Yeah.
Right? And then you'd get like, I remember one key thing that really set me off was your singer Phil always looked great. Because he was biker, but he was glam too, which was guys weren't doing. They were either full on glam where they looked like girls,
right,
or they were ugly metal dudes.
Right.
But he kind of had this combo. He had like a bandana out the back of his pocket. He'd have the one glove on with full glove, a leather glove, you know. Then he'd have like an HD shirt, a leather jacket, but then perfect hair. Yeah. You know? So he would cover it all. Yeah. And I remember I was like, I gotta look like that guy, you know? Yeah. And he had great moves, and he'd be like, oh, yeah. You know, he'd have like killer shit. And he was funny as fuck.
Funny as hell. Talented.
Yeah.
Full on lady killer.
Lady killer. I've never met a guy ever in my life that got girls like this guy. Yeah. And I'm talking about even big stars, because he was just running like a cult, man. Yeah. That guy had a cult.
Holy cow.
So those showcases are so like rotten, right? Like, because the thing is, they have the music, they can hear it in their office. Mm-hmm. They can go to your show, which is sold out, and they can see, oh, this is a no-brainer. Right. But for some reason, they want to fucking throw you through the worst thing they can by making the audition, like, showcase in front of one guy. Yeah. And then it's always weird. They're like, all right, man, thanks a lot, guys. Or maybe they take you to the dinner for some fake shit. Yeah. You know, now when they go... Did they say, like, you know, I like this, but get rid of that guy, he's fat? Or, you guys didn't have any fat guys, but you know how, like, they make notes? Yeah, there was some of that. The one showcase that I most vividly remember is, I think it was SIR. It was a big room, big giant room with a stage, and we had Ahmet Erdogan come check us out, and... he came in and you know, we were drinking whiskey before we played and you know, pretend, you know, it was a show for us, you know, a weird one, but and all he said, and it was probably the smartest thing, you know, obviously that guy knew what he was doing, but we played all our songs, and he commented on Ball and Chain, which is a good song. Yeah, it's a great song. And he's like, he goes, write 9 more like that and you have a game. 9 more. Yeah. First of all, you got to think, just to write one Ball and Chain, most bands that got a deal had one song.
No shit. What was up?
Yeah, let's say like Bullet Boys, Smooth Up, you know what I mean? Yeah. You got Skid Row, 18 in Life, you know? You've got all the bands that had that one song, and like even my band, Ghost Town, there was always that Don't Be Shy song. That's all the label cared about. They're like, this is great, and they swarmed around. But to have more of those, like, yeah, buddy, we know that's the game. Yeah. But you pump this single, and we keep riding. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of bizarre. It's, again, this is going to be the theme, you know? Being thankful for the bad shit that happened, you know? I like where I am now. If everything had worked out the way we wanted it, you know, maybe I'd be in some, you know, shitty rock club in the Midwest opening for somebody and trying to relive the glory days, and not being happy,
or doing Rocklahoma.
If that's what you're into, I love rocking out. Like I wish I could still do that in some way, but I don't think it would be good for me right now. But it does make you scratch your head, you know, like why did we just, you know?
Because I'm looking at you, my band. Is looking at your band going, well, they got fucking all the pieces. They've got the songs, they got the chicks, they got the dudes in the band, they live in, and they fucking selling out everywhere. If they can't make it, how the fuck are we going to make it? Yeah. You know? And I think really a lot of it had to do with the Bay Area really was looked at as like second fiddle. Yeah. And New York was forget about it. No one signed bands from New York. New York was just, I remember going to New York with Vane once, and they were playing out in Brooklyn and seeing the opening bands, and you're like, what are these bands? later on they caught fire. Like, you know, they had their own scene in the 70s, of course.
Yeah.
And then they have no scene at all in the 80s. Then they got Anthrax or whatever. But later they have Yeah, Yeah, Yeahs.
Yeah.
And they have all this great music that came out of there, the Strokes and shit. But in the 80s, New York.
Which is weird because the Strokes are kind of 80s.
That's right. That's right, right?
Yeah.
But the 80s guys, I remember there, New York was really a lot of cover bands. They had to just play covers, and they could play 2 of their own songs an hour.
Wow.
Like that was the rule of the gigs, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, it was funny. But, you know, San Fran, I think if you look at it, you've got some great bands that came out that were there. But they were also really close to what was big. Roadrunner. I don't know if you were around during that. That was 83, 84-ish. They were exact Van Halen. So I think the label's like 2 Van Halen.
Right.
Le Mans, great band, killer fucking songs, but I don't think they were kind of older looking.
Yeah, by the time I got there, they were broken. I remember seeing one of their reunion shows,
right, and
thinking, "Wow, they have some great songs,
fucking great songs, right,
for grown-ups."
Yeah, it's true though, man. Yeah. I mean, I think the time they came out, their record came out. It was on CBS. Came out same as someone famous R&B girl. I forgot who it was. The same day, and they were just lost. But yeah, you know, you looked at them. They were just kind of older dudes, and it looked like they were trying to grab onto something, maybe like a last good hurrah. And then you had Vane, you know, who was, I mean, during the time it was basically just Vane and Flame were the big bands. They both could sell out everywhere. They both had tons of chicks. But I always felt you guys had way better songs, you know, if you wanted to put it into a thing. And a better frontman and stuff. And those guys are friends of mine. Yeah. But that's just honest, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And both bands got record deals and kind of just went nowhere. I think it was at the end of the 80s, though, too, right?
Yeah, you know, times change. It's you know, it's weird. You get signed and then Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Soundgarden changed the face of music. And
you came out right then. It was too late.
All right then.
2 years before, you'd probably be into your 3rd record. Yeah. And then be done by Nirvana.
Yeah.
You know? That's wild, right? So. Now, when that happens, you guys signed with Giant. Do you think, okay, this is going to happen? It's going to be good? Did they make it right with people? What was going on there?
We wrote with people. We did some writing with people and spent a lot of time making the record. You know, again, preparing for the reunion show that we just did. I think it was like a 20-year reunion show. But now we're the old dudes, you know, playing the music. But the first record we made, Blaze, is just badass. It's almost punk rock. It's so raw.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right?
And you know, there's a little bit of merit to the major label record, but not much. Like, I see why our fans didn't like it, and you know, it's now that I've progressed in my music career and I've been producing and just analyzing how great records are made for many years now, and I have more experience than I did then. You know, if you're producing a record, you safeguard the essence of the artist. Yeah. And our essence was totally cast by the wayside on that record, and I didn't know that then. Right. And, you know, we were the guys you described, you know, living in the house, kind of dangerous but fun and all this, you know, all these other things. And that record just sounds real safe, real calculated, and there's not much... You know, there's not much to it. So
there's not much spontaneity to it. It's just kind of like long, probably recording sessions of get it perfect,
rearrange the songs that don't need rearranging. So, you know, in answer to your question, we did go through the machine, and like so many people, you know, we didn't have the experience really. Phil might have, I didn't, and you know, between the co-writing and the probably wrong choice of producer.
Who did produce it?
Who knows? this guy Bill Ray, who was really great, and he's really cares, got a lot of charisma, whatever.
Well, what records did he do at the time? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out.
He had a hit record with this band Trickster.
Oh yeah, was there "Baby Don't Treat Me"? But was that them?
I don't remember it, but he played a little guitar and rode a motorcycle or something.
Yeah, I remember they did dirt bike jumping and shit in the video.
Yeah.
Trickster.
Trickster.
They were like 14 or something.
Yeah. So, who knows? I don't look back on things like that with a negative light, because I like to learn, and that I learned a lot. I learned a lot going through that experience, and
well, I think a lot of people, what they don't understand is, you play music, you learn to play guitar, fucking kid, 7th grade or something in your room. It takes years to learn this fucking instrument. Then you move somewhere completely foreign. You join up with guys. Mm-hmm. You create something in a small pocket in America that becomes fucking great, makes people feel good. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you get a record deal. The record doesn't sell. Who cares? Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, 99% of the people would have quit after the first guitar lesson. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, this shit fucking hurts my
fingers
hands and it's hard. So no matter what happens with a record, you're right. You don't look back on it bad. You go, right now we're on my couch talking about it. Because to me, it affected me in a way to where I still think those memories... I'm not one of those guys that are like, those are the best times of my life, because I've continued. When you reach a level of something that's great, you've got to search for something else after that. Like, you know what I mean?
Totally.
So, but what I'm saying is, for the record to even get made and come out and it doesn't sell, it doesn't matter. It matters that you did what you were out to do.
Yeah.
Which is incredible now, you know? I mean, that time was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, it was fun. It's the innocence. I mean, that when people reminisce or they have their glory days or whatever, it's just the innocence, I think, of it all that just makes it so magical,
Yeah.
But life goes on, man, and there's great times ahead, and and
people get stuck in the 80s.
They do, man.
I got a joke about it. I say 80s is like Vietnam. Some people didn't make it out. You know what I mean?
Totally.
They're just like, things aren't like they used to be. And it's like, actually, there's some pretty good fucking shit going on right now. You just need to get out of where the hell you got stuck.
Yeah.
Like you always see it. I run into some guys from the old scene and they're like, man, you missed that, huh? And I go, yeah, no, I live that. I don't miss it because it's right in my memory. It's right here in my fucking head. I can relive it. I relived it this morning when I threw on the songs. I was like, yeah. I remember the first time I heard Real Love. It was a ballad. Every band had to have that big ballad. I go, that's the best fucking song I've heard in the history of the Bay Area. When I first heard it, I was like, who the fuck are those guys? And then I remember Phil turning me on to James Brown. He was into and he could play the shit out of soul music, and he got me into soul stuff,
Yeah.
That's crazy. So then, after Flame, you moved to Austin.
Yeah, never been. Same as California. Never been to California. Felt called in my body and went. And then toward the tail end of Flame broke up, and I felt called to go to Austin. Never been there before, and so I just packed up and I drove there. And I swear, when I got there, I had guitar amps, guitars, my little minivan. I drove there. I had no furniture. I took I took the front seat out of the minivan and used it as a chair in my apartment. And you just drove straight there and got an apartment? Straight there, got an apartment. And I swear, man, I cried. I think I literally cried every day for a month. I was like, what the fuck did I do? Because I was picturing, Stevie Ray Vaughan on every corner and like this just magical place, and it is, but it isn't like what the press makes it have to be. Yeah, right? And it's not California. It's the middle of Texas. It's different. I had to get used to it. Ultimately is another like super important time in my life, and I stayed there for 13 years.
Yeah,
till my
crazy.
body said go to California again.
Now wait a minute. I jumped ahead real quick though.
Yeah.
What was the defining moment that the band said we're breaking up? Now, after you make the record, you guys moved back to Fremont, right?
I think the defining moment was when I said, "Hey, I quit."
I know, but it was brewing though, right? Shit
was
starts brewing in bands years back.
There wasn't there. Yeah, I don't think there was a. I don't know about a defining moment, like as far as an incident between us all, but for me, I felt like we were chasing and not leading. Right. I felt like at the time we started to have no identity, and we were, Alice in Chains got popular, so now we sounded like Alice in Chains.
Right,
and,
just chasing
something else was popular, so now we're writing songs that sound like that, and it was just super unsatisfying to me.
Yeah.
And
it feels weird.
It feels
because your
weird.
original energy all of a sudden's changed, right?
Yeah.
I remember in Ghost Town, like, we're Aerosmithy, GNR-ish, and then all of a sudden we get a little darker. Still kind of into it, but it was nowhere near the vibe of what the band was, originated on.
Yeah.
So then if you just change the name of something and just do something, then it's organic and start over. But if you're carrying the same Flame name and all of a sudden you're going from Bon Jovi-ish to all of a sudden Alice in Chains, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, trying to be real heavy, and it just wasn't working, and I felt like our time was up. I don't remember exactly how it went down. I think I wrote all the guys a letter.
Yeah.
That's
like some Billy stuff. There.
I know, it's some Billy shit. But just because I wanted them to know, and maybe the letters were different. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who writes letters, man?
So you move out to Austin, and you kind of change your identity a little bit, right? You get into some of that Archangels kind of vibe, that kind of thing. Were you into that stuff?
I was digging like the blues rock,
like Doyle Brimhall and those guys.
Badass. Yeah. I started really getting more into the songwriting, and after Flame and having Phil as a writer and as a singer, I didn't want to look for another singer, so I just started writing and singing myself. And I'm not a rock singer, and I grew up on Tom Petty and Springsteen, and that stuff is as natural to me as Dio.
Yeah.
But Dio is a guitar player.
I think a good song is a good song. Right?
And Dio has plenty.
Hell yeah. You're the last in line. Holy diver. I love Dio, man.
I know. I miss him.
I like Dio era Sabbath better than Ozzy era.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. So fuck you guys out there that are going to email me. But you listen to Holy Diver and you hear that fucking Sign of the Southern Cross, it's got to be one of the best rock songs ever wrote. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing about that fucking guy is at 60 or whenever he passed away, I saw him about 3 months before he died, sang exact to the record.
Wow.
No bullshit of fucking, fuck all that. He came out and laid it down.
Nice. And they probably didn't tune down either.
No, hell no, man.
Yeah.
So you get out there and you become kind of a singer-songwriter stuff. Like I went that route too.
Yeah, with Tulane Blacktop.
Yeah, Tulane, and then solo. I think you get into a route of I think the main thing about doing music like that is something where you can go play 7 nights a week anywhere.
Yeah.
There's a freedom to that where you can go to a coffee shop. You can just open up on a tour with no money, like a guy can bring you out, like Wallflowers brought me out.
Yeah.
Once you become this freedom of not having 5 guys and needing to go set up and sound check and everything, then you really get into being a musician.
Yeah.
I think it becomes something different.
Yeah, when I first moved, well, not long after I moved to Austin, I started playing on the street, and I'd make my grocery money in my guitar case, and it's pretty empowering. Even right now, when I go through tough times, like the work is scarce or whatever, I know that all I need is a guitar, and I'll never starve.
Yeah.
I might sleep outside, but I'm not going to starve, you know.
Yeah.
And I can get places with the guitar.
Yep.
And
that thing's done you right.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
That's like learning a trade of like hammering, you know, being a union carpenter.
Yeah.
Like a framer.
Yep.
The guy knows, even though the fucking planes have changed, maybe they're using aluminum fucking beams now or something, he knows he's going to just adapt and keep working.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how it is. If you know guitar, you always know guitar.
Yeah.
Except for me right now. I don't think I could play. I haven't played in like 4 years.
Yeah.
I played for a few minutes about a month ago. I was like, wow, this is weird.
Yeah.
So you're out there and you start producing records for, Bob Snyder?
I produced one for an artist named Bob Schneider, and played on a bunch of his. I still play on his records.
Right.
They send me the tracks, and I do stuff. I didn't set out to produce records, but I was always making demos, and I developed some kind of skill for it, and then, you know, it got to be where I could earn a living doing that. So I've produced a couple records for a guy named Charlie Mars, and he's real good. He's from
Oh yeah, that guy. I met him with
Mississippi, and this guy Steve Poltz, and you know, handfuls of people.
Right.
Usually regionally successful artists. No one.
Yeah, like kind of Ryan Adams guys before Ryan Adams was famous. They're big in their area.
Yeah, they can make a living themselves, but you might not know about them.
Right,
you
like
know,
they
that
tour
kind of
colleges throughout you know, there's tons of guys out there.
Yeah.
You know, every Ryan Adams you see, there's a lot of guys out there that are kind of, and they come up like, what's that cat's name right now? Jackie Green. You know, he's playing in Wallflowers right now, but, I mean, not Wallflowers, Black Crows. But he was a San Francisco kind of singer-songwriter, and then slowly built up, then started jamming with the Dead, and all of a sudden, you know, boom, he's huge.
Wow.
Those guys, they're around. The good thing about being a singer-songwriter is you could be 50, 60, 70, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, as far as looks, it's not like, well, what's he look like? That's the first thing a label would ask in the 80s, what's he look like?
Yeah. Yeah. I think they still probably...
Well,
it matters a bit less, but it's still, you know, music is, you know, Bowie said it, but fashion, you know,
Yep.
there's an element of it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Even the flannel shirts are a fashion statement, you know.
Hell yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
look.
Pearl Jam is a fucking fashion statement. They don't want to be, but they are.
Yeah.
You can't help it.
I mean, you know, that shit became fucking full blown. You know, you go to Urban Outfitters and it was like the grunge section.
Right.
You go over, you pick up the Doc Martens, some teared up jeans that they already tore up, and a flannel, which sucks because that was the shit I was wearing for like a long. That's like San Francisco clothes.
I know.
You know, when you're not on, you know, like on stage, that's the shit you wore.
I know.
You just buy it at the thrift store because it's like $20 for a full outfit you wore every day.
Yeah, somebody called me a slacker the other day, and I was like, because of what I was wearing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've been wearing this shit for 20 years because I haven't bought anything new.
Yeah, we're fucked,
But
right?
now people want to look like, you know, they look, and now I look like them, and I'm like, oh fuck, now I'm a slacker.
That's what my buddy said. He goes, you've been dressing hipster for 20 years, and now you just look like an old hipster.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't fucking just change the clothes I'm wearing.
Oh shit.
That's hilarious, right?
It's weird.
So you moved back. You're living in hipster ground zero.
Totally.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Of course,
right?
I landed there. Yeah.
It's at Silver Lake. How you liking that?
I love it. I mean, I'm a homebody. I mostly just stay in my place.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You just stay in?
I don't go out.
Why is that?
Because I have Facebook. No, no. I don't know. I work on projects in my house, and I have a lot of friends here, including you. But it's like a big area.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just
tired. Yeah. How many years you been in that place? We were
3 years.
It's already been 3 years.
Yeah.
I remember we were just every day we'd get in your Prius, we go up and down Beechwood and shit, look for places.
Yeah.
And then boom, you got one exactly 1 block from where I landed when I moved from San Francisco here, behind Spaceland. You know, I lived right up there on Redsdale.
Wow. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's right behind me.
You got that, right behind you. Yeah. It's so weird, right?
Yeah. It's a great area. But what I like about it is just it's similar to Austin where I moved from. And
you can walk.
There's some space. You can walk. You don't feel crushed by traffic.
Yep.
And you know what everyone talks about. The deciding factor is great freeway access.
I know. Isn't that right? That's like right here. I go right down the hill. I can get to Burbank Airport in minutes. You know what I mean? That's what because if you live in the flatlands of LA, people don't know, it could take you 20 minutes to get to a fucking freeway.
Yeah.
That's before you've even started your journey. Talk about a day waster.
I know. Which is why have you seen the Californians skit on SNL?
No.
You got to check it out. We're doing it right now.
Oh, yeah?
They're like, it's like a mock soap. Yeah. And, hey, dude, what are you doing here? And all they talk about is how they got there.
Yeah.
No, I took Sepulveda to this way, and I took... You know,
that's pretty good.
Because that's what you do out here.
That's what you do. Yeah,
man,
exactly.
I gotta get out of here. Traffic.
You still loving it here?
I love it. I mean, I don't ever have a time period when I move somewhere. I just
that's right.
Know, it could be 2 years or 30 years, but right now I love it.
Yeah. You think you'll ever land in New York?
No.
If
I had to bet, I would say no. I love New York, but I'm a West Coast dude.
Yeah,
I realize that.
Yeah. It's in your blood.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now? You're playing with Carole King's daughter?
Yeah, I've been...
Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, I've been writing songs with Louise Goffin.
That's her name?
Yep. Louise Goffin.
She doesn't go by King?
Her father is Jerry Goffin.
Gotcha.
Who was the writing partner with his wife, Carol.
Oh, I got you.
Jerry Goffin's written... Look up all the songs he's written. It's incredible. But anyway, Louise is a great songwriter and a nice person. And we met through some weird, names get dropped into hats. And
LA style.
I ended up doing a show with her, and we had some chemistry and musical chemistry and just decided to write. And so we formed this duo called A Fine Surprise. And we have 6 songs now. And, I want to write 10 or 11, make a record.
I mean, Carole King, that Tapestry I was telling you, Tapestry record is top 5 record of my whole life.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a vital Sunday afternoon record.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's a masterpiece. It reminds me of my earliest days of listening to music, probably around 3rd or 4th grade. And my mom would put that on, and I knew the party was over. You know what I mean? Like, she would just have big parties at the house. They'd come on. I think that's why it resonates with me so much. I'd be like, oh, these people are going to leave, and I can just chill out in my house now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
Fucking 70s hippies parties and stuff.
Yeah.
So when that came on, So Far Away, I'd be like, yeah, get the fuck out. Get far away, man. I want my mom back. And then I just fucking, that record, I got 2 copies of it over there on vinyl just because when I see it, I buy it again if it's clean. Cool. Because I'll wear the fuck out of that thing, you know?
Yeah.
I love that record.
Yeah.
It's funny. I read the history of that record, and people are like, well, she was kind of not a great singer and stuff. And I'm like, well, she's not like Janis or something, but she's way better than anybody now.
Right.
The soul I feel in those songs are incredible.
Yeah.
You know? Does her daughter sound like that? Or
her her daughter is Louise is she's got her own identity and style, obviously, but there are, we pick up DNA from our parents, and so there's some things that you can recognize in her. Some of it's in her piano playing, some of it's in
she plays piano,
how she looks, and probably how she sings.
She foxy.
She's got it. She's Yeah, I think so. She's got a great voice, and her piano playing's ridiculous.
I'm just being an A&R guy. How's she look?
She's trim. She's fit. She's fit and ready to package.
Yeah, all right. There you go. You're ready to package. Yeah.
But hearing, having her play my piano, like my poor neglected piano, like I come at it with the fucking claw hand. Yeah. It's like a garden hoe when I play, and but hearing
she rocks
her play,
it, huh?
oh man, really great.
You guys got any gigs coming up?
We don't have any, but mostly because of me, because I just really want to write, and I just want to put our best foot forward, and I'm feeling, I think we both are feeling really excited about some of the songs we have now. Like, we want to go listen to this motherfucker. Right. But until it's a listen to this motherfucker, I don't want to be out there.
Yeah, right. It's true.
The stakes are too high. There's too many really good people, and I don't want to go out there and go,
yeah. Who are you listening to?
As a matter of fact, a friend of mine, every time I send her a song and she goes, "That song was good," I go, "Fuck." Because good's not good enough. It just isn't.
Yeah.
There's sensory overload in this world, and you know.
It's true. It's the quick on, quick off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's so disposable now, you know? I mean, just me going over and putting the record on and then walking back over here, that's work. I put time into that. I'm going to listen to side one at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got to pick the needle up.
I got to pick that fucking needle up, man.
Yeah.
Who you listening to right now? Any new stuff you like?
That's always a hard one. I can never answer that. I listen to my own songs more than anyone else.
Right.
Because I'm always writing and then digging on some Billy Harvey on the drive.
Yeah.
Just listening to a demo, Oh, I like this demo. I don't like this. I like this,
You see Lanois in the neighborhood at all?
I do. He doesn't know. I haven't introduced myself.
Right.
We know.
Still?
I know. We know so many of the same people.
Right.
But I've talked to him at the coffee shop, and he's the nicest dude.
Oh God,
he's so nice.
Cool, huh? He got in a bad motorcycle crash a few years back.
That's what I hear.
I'm glad he's still alive. But his solo record, I think came out about 5 years ago, is fucking great.
Yeah,
I love it, man. It's just so like spiritual and like, wow, where's this guy coming from, man? It's like Octung Baby on some serious lewds.
Wow.
You know what
I gotta
mean?
check that out.
It's a great record, man.
Oh, killer.
Yeah, you got to talk to that guy.
I know.
Because he's fucking lives up the street from you. He's got an amazing pad. Maybe go over there and record or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
fuck, you're over here, and last but not least, you just brought me a poetry book. This is how we hooked up this week. Was you emailed and said, "Hey, I got a poetry book."
Yeah.
How the fuck did this come about? It's actually in my hand. It's a hard copy.
Yeah. I really don't know. I pride myself on my lyrics. I have been writing songs for a bunch of years.
Yep.
But I never really liked poetry. Never, as far as I know, saw myself writing it.
Yeah.
But something overtook me about a year and a half ago, and I started noticing like unfinished lyrics in my lyric books that were kind of poems cast aside.
Right.
And, I realized that song lyrics can be poetic, but they're not poetry, and poetry can be lyrical, but they're not song lyrics. Like, if somebody gives you a poem they write and they're like, make a song out of this, it's impossible.
It never works.
It's almost always horrible.
Yeah.
So I don't know how what came over me, but I just became obsessed with writing these things, and I feel really proud of it. And
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Now, how many are in here?
Well, there's probably 150 of them.
Wow. Nice packaging.
It's like 120 pages long.
Who did the drawing on the cover?
I did.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Then on the back, you look like Burroughs or something. William S. Burroughs, man. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy on the back? I like it.
Yeah,
you got like a street look. Oh, that's great. And Pelican Poetry, is that the publisher?
I did the I started the publishing company.
Oh, you did? All
Yeah.
right. And when did it come out?
There's a quote from Creed Bratton on the back.
Yeah, there it is. Yep.
Yeah.
There it is. The place where artists try to go is where Billy Harvey lives. Transcendental, grounded, and yet crafted for readers so they hear their own song. That's me reading with no glasses.
Oh,
pretty
right.
good,
Right
huh?
on,
I read
yeah.
pretty good with no glasses.
Yeah, the only way I can read that book is if you hold it for me, because my arm's not long enough.
Oh, right? Just old men on the couch.
Oh, full on.
Just
like-
old dude couch. Well, shit. Where can they buy this?
That's right now. It's at a it's an online store, so it's called Billy Harvey's Trading Post.
Yeah.
And I haven't searched for it. I imagine if you search Billy Harvey's Trading Post, you'll find it. But
Okay.
the online, there's all this e-commerce now. So the site that made sense to me was Shopify, but there's like, Amazon.
Right, all that.
There's a million of them.
Right.
But so
Also, I think one of my favorite things before we sign off is Billy Harvey did a tour in a one of those vegetable oil cars, Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
And you shot. What do you think they are? Like 5 minute? What are they? 5-10 minute videos or something? It's like a short film in sections.
yes.
And it's the diary of like a video diary of this tour of you in this vegetable oil car.
Yeah, I became obsessed with alternative fuels and being able to tour and make it more affordable and also not burn gas. But so I bought a '80s Mercedes on eBay and then put a tank in the trunk that would burn corn oil.
Yeah, French fry oil.
French fry grease.
Yep.
And
it smelled like French fries.
it says it smells like something.
Yeah.
It smells like grease.
Yep. Yep.
Whatever you're cooking in the grease. But but then I drove around America. I drove about 8,000 miles in that car,
And then filmed it.
I filmed the whole thing.
It's fucking great.
It started as a video diary because I wanted to chronicle the experience. But after like the second day of tragedy and trauma, I'm like, oh, this is a fucking movie.
Yeah.
So I started taking more footage, and I would post. I'd post a day every day. I would edit it when I got to my destination, and because I wanted to hook people. But when I got home, I compiled it all and made a documentary out of it called Everywhere Now.
It's fantastic.
And in the documentary, you see the resolve. Like I didn't post everything. I wanted the ending to be you'd have to wait for the ending. But,
it's incredible the fucking amount of work you have to do to drive these vegetable oil cars. Because I remember I would watch one and it'd be like, oh, fuck, his glow plug or whatever went bad. He's got to go to the hardware store and get this part. Oh, because they gave him shitty, dirty French fry oil.
Yeah.
And it ruined his filters. Oh, he's not going to make the next gig now.
I know.
Oh, he doesn't have any the Chinese lady doesn't have the grease she promised him. And you're watching it going, this is fucking great, man.
Oh, and it's the middle of winter.
Yeah, it's the middle of winter, and he's by himself.
And he's by himself.
What I mean? And then you get to these gigs, and maybe they're shitty in someone's house, and you're like, oh, now the gig's no good.
Yeah, nobody. I mean, I remember getting to my gig in Atlanta, and it's the first and only gig I've ever played where no one was there. I've played, it's bad enough if one person's there, but this was no one. It was the doorman and the sound guy.
And they still did the gig.
And they did the gig. I stood there, and the doorman was standing in the door. And halfway through the gig, I saw the sound guy like texting somebody.
Yeah.
And halfway through the gig, apparently he was texting his girl to come. So his girlfriend came and stood behind the board with him because he was just like felt so bad.
Now, did they do it so in order for you to get paid? I mean, I don't get why did they just go, let's just call this.
Totally. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't. Because actually, that's happened before. I did go to one place and there was nobody came, and I'm loading in, and he's like, just go back to your car, but that crushes your spirit. I'd rather play to no people
really
and have the guy go,
let's
cut our losses, man.
Oh, hey, Hey, one last thing. I
Yeah.
forgot I talked about it on Marin. I remember I sent you guys to the Cabo Wabo Flame.
Holy shit.
Let's just chop on that 1 second, then we'll
Okay.
get out because I forgot all about it. This interview's all over the board, but it's funny. Before we do that, where can they watch that video online? Billy Harvey, the oil driving.
Yeah,
tour?
some of the oil clips are up on my YouTube page. Which is I don't know what it's called, but
Okay.
it's Billy Harvey. I think it's called Billy Harvey and Stuff.
Okay. Anyway, you go to Cabo. I send you guys there.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that? Flame goes to Cabo, playing Cabo Wabo. I have vivid memories of that.
Oh, you do? Of going down there?
Well, because I remember they called me and said, we need some bands. And then I send you guys. And then I go, fuck sending bands. I'm going to put together a band and go down myself because you guys said it was so great, you know? One thing great about it, there was no one at the gigs. Yeah. And Cabo, what people don't understand, not now, but back in 90, I think 5, it was like 90, was it 95? Like, when did you guys break up?
It was probably 94.
Okay, so it was at the end of Flame.
Yeah.
So like 93, 94, but I remember Cabo, dirt road. A guy picked you up in some fucking hoopty van.
Yep.
There was nothing for miles, and you were like, "Where the fuck are we?" And then you would roll down this dirt road, and then there it was. There was a Baskin Robbins, or it was like a Foster Freeze or whatever, some shitty fast food place, a fake one, you know. And then there was the Giggling Marlin, Squid Row, and Cabo Wabo. That's it.
Yeah.
And all dirt.
Yeah.
And remember, Sammy got burned. They said he was going to be on the front line, and then they turned the streets, the diagram of the whole town, and he was on a side street.
Oh, right.
Remember that? So no one even knew where it was when they got off boats.
Yeah.
So what do you remember about going there?
The utter disappointment of walking up to the Cabo Wabo and seeing it tucked away and dishwater gray light and just no ambiance. No, like that place doesn't remotely look like a margarita.
No.
I think it was like blue or purple on the inside.
It was purple.
Black and purple.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't look like sunny, let's have a margarita. It's what I'm picturing. You know, this is Sammy Hagar. Lots of, you know, so that was, but I remember wandering a dirt road late at night with a girl I met down there.
Yeah.
And I remember a lot of baby oil.
You just had some outdoor sex?
I don't want to go too much into it because people are going to get this, but
yeah.
And the guys at the
That ran it?
No, there was the other place you mentioned. They had an outdoor volleyball court.
That's right. Yeah. Squid Row.
They thought we were the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I remember you were supposed to do 3 sets, and the guy that was managing it for Sammy hated rock, and he would just come over and go, guys, come on, guys, too loud. And he would just have us play like 2 songs or 3, and then he would really want us to leave.
Wow.
Which was bizarre.
Yeah.
What later happened was Sammy became a king, bought the front place, knocked all the walls down, and now it's just fucking epic.
Oh, I bet.
You know, now
Okay,
it's on
cool.
the main street. You walk up, it's a giant compound, and it's really cool.
Wow.
But really what happened was he got involved with it. You know, he started having his birthday parties down there. People started going, big stars, and it got great.
Yeah.
But when you and I were going there, it was brand new.
Wow.
And I remember the Van Halen brothers were pissed. They're like, we got burned on this. You can have it. Because they were partners, and they said, you can have it. And he took it. But I remember it just being Cabo. It was like no man's land.
Yeah, and it was all those Eddie Van Halen PV amps or something.
Yeah, remember
like
that?
too.
Yeah, they had gear there. So
God, that's still horrible sounding
it was
guitar
like
amp. Jesus, no wonder the guy wanted everyone to turn down. You're playing through that fucking chainsaw.
Yeah, right. And no one was at the gigs.
Nobody,
dude. It was so weird. Like, people would be there on the weekend when the cruise ship would come in. But I think you played for a week, right?
Yeah.
Like Monday through Sunday.
Yeah.
And I remember it was just no one there the first 3 days, and they had the that mariachi band had to open by law.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Were you drinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was still like in my Christian phase.
Yeah.
But I was playing the out of town law.
Oh, that's like Dennis, because Dennis played with us there the following year, and he was like, "Well, when you're in another country, God can still see you, dude. If you're going on that route, you know what I mean."
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember he got arrested for pissing on a wall, $500 to get out or something.
Crazy.
Yeah, had to pay the federales.
Wow.
Well, thanks for coming by, man.
Pleasure.
Great to see you.
Likewise.
You got a Twitter?
I started doing that.
Yeah, I saw it. I just followed you today.
I don't know my fucking
Billy
Twitter.
Harvey guy.
Billy Harvey guy.
Yeah.
People always have a Billy Harvey, so I have to make up these, versions of it that I can't remember, like the Billy Harvey and
Billy
stuff.
Harvey guy.
Billy Harvey guy. Yeah.
All right, there he is right there. And then hopefully you'll see the band. You got a website on the band or anything?
Not yet.
No.
Not
All
yet.
right. But follow him on Billy Harvey guy.
Yeah.
And also check out his Flame. You can find it out there, man. I just dug it up on YouTube. Flame, not to be confused, which I just found out is a Japanese boy band right now. Flame.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, Flame, I typed in on YouTube Flame Fremont, and a bunch of stuff came out.
Mm-hmm.
So check that out, people. Thanks for tuning in. Also, don't forget, to subscribe to the podcast and email me anything you want. DeanDelRey@yahoo.com. And I got new hats for sale, $15. Email me. They're good. I'm not making any money. I'm just making hats. There you go. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Billy Harvey right there on Let There Be Talk. Thank you, guys.